What up, I'm Dylan Schoonover, host of the Artist Spotlight. Pleased to be having none other than Mr. Sammy Adams from Boston himself. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Good to have you on the show. It's been 2 years since we've seen you last, and man, has changed.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about what's been going on. You've been collaborating with some crazy big people. You're signed to a major label. Just things have been blowing up.
Yeah, man, everything's good. I moved out of Boston, went to New York. Really started focusing more on what was best for me as a independent artist. Stopped taking care of people, but really just focused on what music I wanted to make in terms of getting to the next step. Playing small rooms was like the coolest thing ever because it's intimate with your fans. But then you go do arenas with like
the Boston Garden.
Yeah, like Enrique and Pretty Lights and Taylor Swift and everybody. It's like a whole new ball game. So
what did it feel like when you started experiencing that?
It's a really cool, overwhelming feeling. Like getting on stage and having people. I mean, just the exposure is amazing because people don't know who you are necessarily. Right. But being on stage in front of 60,000 people is like so wild, and it gives you such an opportunity to perform and do your best, and then get your name out there. And regardless of if people that listen to the radio don't know who you are, you get to debut yourself.
Right. What do you have to do? What did you learn from those experiences that might have changed your overall performance on a stage?
Just taking your time and really soaking up that moment. People are. The 60,000 people or however many thousand people are looking at you and you only, which is such a cool feeling when you're on stage with such a superstar like, Enrique or, whoever. It's so cool just to live in that moment, Getting overwhelmed is very easy when you sort of step out and you're like, and it's a whole dome full of people. But, just those experiences just help you grow and help you build your confidence. It's the coolest feeling in the world, especially after you kill a set. You're just like, oh my god, it's crazy.
5 years ago, who did you envision Enrique Iglesias was?
A good looking Spanish dude who made hits. I don't know, I've always been a fan of his, man. Just the music was way different than what I was doing. I was more of a indie hip-hop dude or pop hip-hop guy. But really, just learning and becoming a better artist and working with people, building relationships, really gives you the opportunity to get out of your lane, build your lane up, and, work with someone like Enrique who, was a pleasure to work with. Writing pop smashes now, opposed to just, underground shit is really cool. Right,
absolutely. You had major success. And you said kind of had to drop the baggage or drop some things that you were weighing you down. What does that mean? What was weighing you down?
Just certain things, certain people, certain things, certain environments, learning what's good for you and what's bad for you. And, it sounds very one-sided, but being a little bit more selfish and taking care of yourself. Cutting down your team, finding out who you can trust, cutting people that have problems or, don't bring anything to the table. We keep a really small circle, and the circle is still very small. So just learning as you go and not giving people that many chances, because it's someone can take your job. Someone would love to have your job, so do it right,
Right. Yeah, and obviously in the music industry, there's a lot of mouths to feed.
Oh, of course.
And if you can get rid of some of those mouths, you're going to be able to keep a little bit more in your own pocket, which is important. So we're on this tour with T Mills. What's fun, what's unique about it? Because you tour all the time.
What's unique about this tour is it's mostly fam that I'm with. A couple people we added to the tour are like family for me, so it's nice to not just have people that are working for you. It's people that actually are working for you but care for you. They have that love. Mills is the man. He's so humble and down to earth. He has ill hits.
We playing any new music? Any music we haven't heard on other tours?
Yeah. Tonight we're playing a joint called Pop Money, which is a very 808-y, bassy ass, sort of braggadocious rap song. And then we're obviously going to play All Night Longer, which has had the craziest response, man. Whether or not we're playing a college or we're playing a more civilized room that's more industry people, it's wild, because it's that was in the running to be one of the singles,
right,
which it probably will be after this next single we put out. But yeah, we're gonna.
Nice, that's exciting. People love new stuff, and more importantly, you probably love new stuff because, I mean, if you're being honest, when you play things so many times, you're like, oh, I've got to play this, but it gets a little tiring, right?
It gets a little tiring. I mean, the cool thing about music is, you know, and doing these sets is you get to go whatever direction you want. So if the night before a couple songs didn't hit right, we, you know, reorder them or we put them in this order, and it's cool because you get like a actual live setting to see what reacts with the fans, which is really dope. But also, you know, playing those songs, it's sometimes we go and we play like some crazy trap or like dubstep remix. Like when we're in Boulder, we play some crazy shit and they go nuts. And then you could go play that like in the Northeast, and kids are like, what's this? like play Boston's Boy. So, you know, it just depends on the crowd, but it's definitely, you know, things get tiring on tour regardless, because, you know, we go out so many days out of, you know, 365, but you know, it's all about the fans, so whatever they want to hear, you know.
T played Warped Tour last year. I toured Warped Tour last year, and I toured Warped Tour again this year. When are we going to see Sammy on Warped Tour?
I don't know, man. That's a good question.
I think it'd be a good fit for you.
That's a good question, because I was talking to a bunch of people. I was talking to Mills about Warped Tour too. And he said it was a blast. So yeah. I'm sure we'll get out there soon, especially with the new, you know, music that we're making. It's so like, it's so broad. It's not narrowed down to like, oh, he's just making pop music now. It's like pop, hip hop, a little bit of rock, R&B, like techno, EDM, whatever it is, whatever you call it these days. Yeah, right.
Kids always want to classify it into something.
Like, of course.
And then they micro it down to even a smaller segment.
Hell yeah.
Somebody gets pissed. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's like, damn, it's just music. Like, chill out. Of course, man. You're either gonna like it or you're not.
People take their music seriously, bro. They all want, you know, find out what's next, find out who's new, you know.
They do, and we talk to all different genres of music and all different kinds of people, but I think that you are in one of the more envious situations as far as who your crowd demographic is.
Oh, of course.
You got that nice age of probably 17, 18 to about 25, mostly female. Like, you got to appreciate that every night.
Yeah, it's great, man. The cool thing about our shows is, like, the big shows we do in big cities like LA, New York, Chicago, it's such a cool split because it's like 60-40 girls to guys, and then, you know, the other markets we hit are usually more girls, but obviously, like, if there's hot girls going to a show, there's going to be guys, you know. It's like a trail. So
you're actually doing a service for men everywhere.
Exactly. So
that should be your like promotion.
That's like a tagline for tour, bro. Like,
there it is.
We'll play, you lay.
You're the wingman.
Yeah. I'm like the unspoken wingman.
Man, you are not getting paid enough for that.
Right?
You got to talk to somebody.
I got to talk to my agents, bro. I got to get that guarantee up.
So we got news music. Have you learned anything? I've talked to somebody who came to mind when I think of you a little bit is Mac Miller.
Yeah.
And Mac, when I talked to him, he said when he first was younger, he'd go out and just go nuts for 60 or 90 minutes.
Right.
And then he said when he got older, he had to learn how to pace himself a little bit. Do you feel that you just go nuts for 90 minutes, or do you do some pacing with your set?
I mean, it really depends, you know. Like, it's so hard to pace yourself when you're doing like a crazy like festival type joint where, like, you know, dude like Skrillex is on after you, or like even crazier like Tiesto or Bon Jovi, these big bands, big DJs. So it's like, it's hard because you get out in the crowd and they're so wild, and it's like, you know, 15,000 people, and it's like, how do I slow it down? And you don't want to slow it down necessarily, but in a more intimate setting, you know, when you are playing for 90 minutes or 70 minutes or whatever, you do have to slow it down because you eventually will run out of steam. And just if you're on the road for 45, 50 days, you know, and you have 4 or 5 days off in between those, you have to, you know, maintain your voice, maintain your energy. But definitely, you know, when I started and was, you know, running around in a van, you know, we would just go nuts and then get off stage and get absolutely buckled.
Yeah.
And then, you know, next night, and like second week into tour, I remember doing a show somewhere in the South, and like I could barely like mouth a word, man. Like, I was so hungover, and
I need backing tracks,
and my voice was so tough. Like, and I hate using backing tracks because it's like sort of takes away from you know, the fact that you're a spitter, or like that you can sing something.
Right.
But it really, you know, it does matter. Like, you really do. I totally agree with Mac. You have to really slow yourself down and make sure that you sort of give the fans a dip, and then you peak, and then you dip again, and it sort of like dictates the whole show.
Right.
And it gives you more of like an artistry. It makes your set a little more, you know, royal or elegant, because you get to sort of just spin it off however you want.
Sammy, thanks for being on my show. Really appreciate it. It's been sick having you. And Sammy Adams, folks, live from the Gannett.
I'm coming up, flowing, running airlines from LA to Boston. Can't stop, and I told you I promise that you ain't gon' hear nobody that's hotter. Hear nobody that's hotter, 'cause there ain't nobody that's hotter. Nobody ain't nobody that's hotter. What up, haters, I'm back, so how's my taste? I'm speeding growing like months without toothpaste. Never gonna mix some blood with my confidence. See what's in my city, showing out of music consequence. And my wealth's coming, whether or not you like it. Felt like a tip with a pen to take the counterfeits. Like, you probably never heard of me. Psych, 'cause you probably searched the world for me. Ha, ha, I left on track, you burst veins to the heart, 'cause your ass can't rap. Doesn't take off, see the stripes in it. On my window plate, flying in the air, hey, let's go! I'm coming up, flowing, running airlines from Boston. Can't stop it, I told you I promise that you ain't gon' hear nobody that's hotter. Hear nobody that's hotter, 'cause there ain't nobody that's hotter. No hotter. Ain't nobody that's hotter. So my parents said I was gonna get some. I won't say you get higher than a jet some. Getting love told me why you never getting up. More to the game, never pose as a stepson. I'm not doing on iTunes, what's next shit? Rewind the track one time before I exit. Like I could give a really what y'all think. Destiny is blessing, bartender, give me a soul drink. So I can pay out, dreams will be a play out. City radio, I'm good and look at how I made out. On this road, my pops paid. Telling me to do what I love, so now I'm on stage.